Okay, so this project, as you guys can see from the handout, is meant to simply have you guys make sure you know how to apply a draft onto an object for the purpose of plastic injection molding parts, as we've discussed. So on the sheet we have here that shows us the part, what we want to do is we want to first construct the part. You can see that it's a 4x4 width and depth box, and then it has a height of 5, and then we hollow it out with a wall thickness of 0.2. So doing that really quick, constructing the box should be pretty straightforward for us. I'm going to construct a 2D sketch on that plane right there. Rectangle. I'm going to apply it, and everything here is in inches. So I'm going to dimension this first. It's supposed to be a 4 by 4 box, and then I'm going to constrain it. So I'm going to do a horizontal constraint between midpoint and origin, and a vertical constraint between midpoint and origin to lock in the location. And with the dimension of 5 and 5 applied, 4 and 4 applied, the size of it is locked in as well. So we have a fully constrained sketch now. I'm going to finish sketch, and we're going to take that sketch and we're going to extrude it up. How much? 5. Good. So 5 inches, extrude it up, and okay, we've got our box. Okay, now we want to hollow out our box. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use the shell command right up here. Shell. It's going to automatically select this. Now I want it to be a wall thickness of 0.2, so I'm going to adjust that, and I want to remove that bottom face. So I'm going to tilt it up, and I'm going to select that bottom face so that it removes the bottom face so that it's an open box on the bottom. Got the wall thickness I need, and I've got it shelled out and the bottom open, so I'm going to click OK. So we now have our box hollowed out with that bottom open. However, the manufacturing process on this is it's plastic, and specifically plastic injection molded. So we know we need draft on the outside and inside surfaces in order for it to eject from the molds in plastic injection molding smoothly, okay, and effectively and quickly. So we looked at already, we have this command over here called draft. We have this command called draft. Okay. So here's how we're going to apply the draft. I'm going to pivot it up like this so that I can see the bottom and some edges. I'm going to select draft. And the first thing it's asking me to find is pole direction. Pole direction. I'm going to select this bottom surface here, okay, as my pole direction, because it's along the bottom edge that I want the inside and outside surfaces to pivot on. Okay? Pole direction defines the edge that the surfaces that we're going to select for faces that we're going to draft is going to pivot on. Okay, so I'm going to select this face down here, and now I'm going to draft the inside first. Okay, I'm going to draft the inside first. So I selected my pole direction. Now I want to select the face. Okay, so I'm going to select this inside face, that inside face. Wrapping it around here, the other 2 inside faces I need to select as well. Okay. Now let's see if we can get a good shot on this. How is it drafting it right now? It looks like it's taking it and going the opposite direction that we want. Actually, no, it's going in the right direction. You can see that by if you look straight at the bottom, doesn't the top opening look smaller, or that bottom opening at the back surface there looks smaller? So it's drafting everything in, isn't it? But I want to draft everything in at a degree of 1. Okay, so it's just going to be a slight draft in. You can still see from this surface to the inside, it is coming in like that. Okay, and it'll do that to all of those surfaces. So I'm going to select OK. If I do a nice view of the bottom, you can see that rim around here, how all of those sides come in. Okay. Good. Now we want to apply a draft to the outside as well. So we're going to hit draft draft again. Again, I'm going to select that bottom edge as my pull direction. Okay. And then I need to select faces. Well, it's that face. It's this face, that face. All the outside faces are what I want to select. So I've got all my outside faces selected. Now the question is, how is it drafting it? Okay, it looks like it's actually taking it and tapering it out up top, isn't it? That's not what we want though, is it? We want it to taper in. We want it to taper the same direction as the inside because we know we're going to pull off the top of the box. So I can come here and switch pull direction and it'll pivot in instead of out, giving us what we want. And then I'm going to hit OK. So if we look at the top of the box here, you can see how the top of the box here is one surface, but then looking at it perfectly perpendicular to the top, you can see these other two side faces have a small draft out to the bottom. We could even look at the side view here, and if you look carefully on there, can you see how it is drafted out where at the top it's thinner than the bottom? Okay, again, the whole point of that is the mold that's on top here needs to be able to pull off effectively. So we wanted it to draft in towards the top. The same thing is true on the inside here. Everything is drafted in towards the top so that the mold on the bottom side that's on the inside of this pulls out nicely. And this is now our part dimensioned correctly, and we have a 1 degree draft on all the inside and outside surfaces so that it easily pulls away from a mold for plastic injection molding. Now that we have the model done, we want to create a 2D drawing of the model. So what I've done here is I've already opened up a new IDW drawing, and I've adjusted it to a size A sheet, and I've also gone into the eye properties and added the title and company name in my title box here. So what I want to do first is I want to input my base view. Okay, so here's nice thing for me is it's already selected it. Okay, you need to go in and find it, but yeah, what you're noticing is that it's way too big. So what I did is I went down and I did a 1/4 scale. Okay, 1/4 scale is big enough to see it, but not too big, or not too big where I can still fit all the views that I need in here. So I'm going to move this off to the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a side view right here. So we've placed that one there. I'm going to come up and I'm going to place another one up here, and then I can place my isometric view up here. Now you can see from the drawing that I've got extra pieces. I'm not going to drag it over here because you can see from the drawing it says section AA scale 1/4. So we're going to do something special for that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and right click and click create, but I still need one view which is a projection off of this. So I'm going to come up here and project, select this, and come off of it to project that other side view. Right click and create. Now I've got 3 of the 4 2D views, and then I've got my isometric view over here. Okay. Now there's a couple things that we can dimension by looking at the outside of this shape. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to annotate, dimension. I'm going to dimension width of this. Okay, so I've got 4 there. Click OK. Got there it is. Okay, 4.09 here. Okay, so you'll notice that on my drawing it's 4 and 4. It's doing something interesting with the draft right here. Sometimes it applies a draft a little bit differently. We'll go ahead and leave it like that. However it applies the draft on your model, we'll call that okay. Dimension it. Either way, it should be really, really close to 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this one because it really should be symmetrical. So I'm going to come out to that one there, click OK. Okay, so we'll leave it at there for now. Dimension here, I want my height from here to here. That's a 5. I'm going to click OK. Now, what the issue is with the views that I have here is that the views that I have don't show the inside of the box. It doesn't show what the inside of the box looks like. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to place views, and there's this thing called section. Okay, I'm going to hit section, and then what I can do is this. I'm going to zoom in on this one right here. I'm going to select that as the drawing view I want, and then I'm going to find the midpoint right here, and I'm going to come up so I get that dotted line. I am going to click once, drag a vertical line down, click again. Then I'm going to right click and hit continue. What that does is I can now drag off to the side what is called a section view. I want you to notice a few things about what's happening in this section view. Okay, what it's doing is along this line right here, it is literally cutting that box in half and then allowing me to look at the cross section along the cut. Do you see how everything is dashed right in here? It's called a hatching. Okay? All the hatching in this region means that this right here is actually a surface, meaning it's the surface from cutting that box in half, and I'm looking at that surface edge there from cutting that box in half. It's a sectional view. Notice it does section AA, which over here you have the arrows. This shows where it was cut, and then the arrows show the direction that you're looking at. So it literally took it and pivoted it, and now we're looking at the cross section. It's from this that we can now do a couple things. Number one, I can show my wall thickness. I'm going to put 0.2 right here, and I'm going to type in tip for typical, and then wall thickness, and OK. I'm going to escape out of dimensioning so I can grab this and move it up here instead. And now I want to, the last thing I need to do, it's a pretty simple part, so the last thing that I need to do is I need to show and indicate the angle measures on my drafts. Okay, so to do that, here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to zoom in on one of the angles here. Okay, I'm going to hit dimension. I'm going to select the bottom edge and this side edge. And what it's going to allow me to do is find the angle measure between those two. Okay, and there we go. We've got our 90, 91. Now, I'm going to cancel that because in the drawing that I've given you, we actually include that outside one over on this over here. So I'm going to put it over here where I have it in the drawing. I'm going to select those two. There's 91. So again, I'm going to type in tip, and then enter, and I'm going to go outside. So it's indicating that that is my typical outside draft. I'm going to move this up here so it looks a little nicer. Now Now I'm going to do the same exact thing to the inside. Select dimension. I'm going to hit the bottom side. I'm going to select this side right here. And I have an 89 degrees there. That indicates that, again, there's a 1 degree draft in there. Okay? 1 degree off of 90. So tip, enter, and then inside. So the typical inside draft is indicated by that. So I now know the dimensions that I have, the dimensions of my box, that it's hollowed out. It has a wall thickness of 0.2, and I also know the draft that's being applied to both the inside and outside surfaces of my box. And that's all the information that needs to go on.